What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from the Dyslexic Investor, and we are. I know I had to change this stream just a little bit here. We're going an hour early. I just wanted to make sure that I had at least 90 minutes to give to you guys today. If this goes well, I am more happy to create another live stream on Sunday. So we can go through some further questions and so forth like that. I hope you appreciate the thumbnail there of the crystal ball again. We do not have a crystal ball here. We do not know on which way the market's going to trend or go. We just have to make on what the market gives us. How's everyone doing out there? Happy Friday. Hope you have a nice little beverage with yourself. I have a little bit of I think it's jasmine tea. Nope, what is this? Oolong tea. Cold brew, and then I have some water. All right, so what we're going to be doing today, we're going to be going through some charts. If you have any comments or questions, go ahead and just post them in the live chat, and I'll do my very best to get to answer them. All right, so let's get this out of the way, and now you should see my charts. All right, so my charts here going forth, you see kind of we're going to do an overall of what happened this week. It was kind of a rough week to the extent of a lot of things kind of, I wouldn't say flush down, but things happened in the sense of looking at a potential slowdown and kind of a way to that somewhat scared people on the sense of, hey, what's going on here with the market? Yeah. Elon T. That's funny. Elon T. That would make me go on Twitter and write about some crazy stuff and selling all my belongings, and then my own company that I own is overpriced. God bless them. I don't know what's wrong with them. There's something nothing right there. So what we're gonna do is a quick market overview of what kind of happened this week. So right here on the front of the screen here we have the futures for the S&P 500, and you can kind of see here on the daily chart, nothing crazy happened, but there's some key indicators that I want everyone to kind of take away from here. Do you think the market will go up on Monday? I don't know if the market will go up on Monday. I don't know if it's going to go down. It's a coin flip, but what I want to make sure that the thing of how I trade is I have my best case, worst case, and then my circle case, aka my W2F case, on what could happen. So looking at the S&P 500 here again on the weekly, on the daily chart here for the week, we did not break below the yellow line. So we didn't break below it and we didn't close below it. So initially what that means is that this overall upward trend, doing air quotes, is still intact. Meaning that if it continues to start printing higher, as long as the close of the day on the daily chart, this is how I trade, that it has to be above the 21. It looks like the 5 and 8 are starting to slowly curl over. We can look here, zoom in here a little bit. So that being said, so if it starts curling over, so the 5 can cross into the 8, that's okay. It's not the greatest, but if the 5 crosses the 8 and then they both cross into the 21 with the close over the 21, underneath the 21, that can be a little scary. So that could be a little bit like a little hesitant. That could be meaning a little of a trend reversal. So kind of give you an example of that, we're going to go back to basically the February of what happened was. So you kind of see here that the white line is the 5 exponential moving average, the pink line is the 8, and then the yellow is the 21. So what happened was just if you follow this, that the 5 crossed into the 8, that's okay, but it still closed above the 21. Then you had that really bad, let me zoom back out, sorry, I did. Really bad gap down below the 21 and closed below 21. So if you were trading, meaning if you were trading just like weekly or within like 30 or 45 day options, you should have gotten out or roll the position up or down. again, this could be a head fake, but with the 5 and the 8 crossing below 21, and then the candle completely closing below the 21, that's basically shaking out this low here, and it continued to kind of sell off here. And then to get back in to go long or do to buy calls, you kind of had to wait for this all the way down here, because you can see here this whole trend down was all below the 8 and the 5 and just followed it down. So the 8 and the 5 are the moving averages on the daily chart that just drive momentum. They're basically considered the momentum moving averages. And then the 21 is more like your this is where the middle of the line is and things like that. So you can kind of see here, once we had that low here, we popped up. Oh, my bad. We popped up, kind of hit resistance here. But that day, when we broke through the 21, I know it probably was a scary day. It sucks to buy sometimes on a high. When we broke through that, you're like, oh, that's great. That put a flag on the chart here. And then once you saw the 8 cross, the 5 and the 8 start cross above the 21, that was a meaning of that we could potentially get out of this downward trend. So that is basically the recap on the S&P 500. Moving forth there, looking at, again, the trend is still somewhat intact. Again, we have not closed below the 21 here, and the 5 and 8 are still slightly not crossed yet. Once these kind of cross and potentially start heading to the 21, that's when I would like to potentially be careful on what happens next. All right, anyone have any stocks out there? I think we want to look at Tesla for sure, right? Since Mr. Musk himself basically said it's worthless or overpriced or whatever he said. Let's get rid of that. That was my prediction for earnings. So for Tesla, this has been a crazy week. It has not, on looking at it just on a blink of an eye, it's still above the 21. That is good. That is still good. It didn't break below it. It had a strong earnings, but then you had Elon going out on Twitter and posting a bunch of stuff that God only knows what he was doing. So that being said, that's kind of concerning when you have the look at that. Yeah, we can do the SPY there, Dan. We'll do that right after here. Let me go ahead and write that in. I have a couple stocks here I want to go over here. So the 5 has not crossed below the 8, but it's super close on the daily chart. So the other graph I like to look at as well is the 4-hour chart. So we're looking at the 4-hour chart. I know this gets kind of crazy looking here, but we can kind of sum this up by getting out the extended hours. So each tick is basically 4 hours, not a day. And it initially kind of tells on where the daily chart might go. And that, of course, on the 4 has already crossed below the 21 and closed below it. That doesn't mean that it's going to continually going lower, but it's not the world's greatest sign in the sense of support. So if you're trading on a very short basis, this could be slightly concerning for you here, with the trend might potentially going lower. So if you look at the trend that we've had since the bottom, we can draw some wonderful, beautiful lines. It basically comes here, or you can draw some trend lines on this side. Oh. Let me do this. Wait, hold on. That did not go where I wanted it. There we go. So we can kind of do, we could have done this trend here that broke right there, basically there, or we can keep this trend here and keep that little line up. We can just kind of see on how this plays out here. I kind of want to make that more of a positive line. I'm going to make it a nice yellow for Elon for some support there. So I own Tesla stocks, and this is kind of, I wouldn't say it's scary, but it's concerning when the CEO is saying things like that. I can't recall the last time I saw a publicly CEO dissing his own stock or saying it's overpriced. But yeah, that's a little concerning. On the 4-hour chart, the Chesapeake money flow is negative. Not the greatest sign. The RSI slowly coming off. Momentum could kick up, but again, anything could happen from that point forward. So then, who was it? It was Dan wanted a SPY. We can do SPY. Let's go to the daily again. Again, SPY is the same. So the SPY doesn't trade as much or doesn't have the long extended hours like the futures markets has. So that being said, looking at the SPY is not even near the 21. Again, I'm using this as this ticks lower here, below around like 279. That could be a potential drop lower into, again, we could see more resistance at the low around 272 or potentially lower depending on how strong and the momentum behind the tick is. If it's like small ticks like this, that's kind of like a grinder lower. But if you get ticks like this, huge red candles and huge wicks, that's never a really good sign, because that just means there's just so much capitulation, just so much just like, what the F's going on? There's just too much unknown in the market and people are afraid. Again, so if I wanted to go, key indicators is breaking the basically 279, and of course we want it to close above this one on Monday, so it'll be around 290. So let me just put some indicators on there to make it permanent. So basically we wanted to stay above, if you're bullish, above 279, and to continue going at least close above 290. And then if you're bearish, you want it to break the 179 and close below it. Hopefully that makes sense. Next is Dan asked for AMZ as well. So AMZ had a crazy quarter. They had, was it $4 billion in new expenses due to the pandemic that we have here worldwide. So they spent a lot of money to prep for this, to get things up, to get production, to supply chains, management, whatever, big business words. My prediction was higher, I believe, for Amazon, but my concern was that it ran so much. Basically, since the beginning of, where is April right here? So the beginning of April to the day of the quarter, it ran $574.30% in less than a month. That's a pretty sizable move for a huge stock. Yes, it's really crazy times and so forth, but you can kind of see it with the gap down of earnings with Friday of today closing. It didn't close below 21, but you can see here, this is why I love the 21 exponential moving average, is that it really helps kind of line things up. It just tapped it. It just went tip tap. Just the Happy Gilmore, just tap it in. It didn't go all the way through here, and it showed some resilience. Again, the 5 and the 8, the very steam-powered emotional momentum indicators are slightly pointing down. And again, these can cross, but as long as, again, the candle doesn't close below 21 and the 5 and 8 don't start cutting into the 21, that is when it gets concerning. So best case, Amazon hopefully stays above, for the bull case, 2261. And of course, we want it to continue going higher if you're bullish, as 2362. So you kind of want it to break that previous high, or stay above 21. And if you're on the opposite side, being a bear, of course you want it to break the 21 and continue trending lower. All right, what's INOVIO? Oh, NIO. Okay, I forgot to put a space. So NIO, that's the, what is that? A pharmaceutical. Okay, I'm guessing they had some kind of vaccine or something here. It looks like it didn't go well. See, this one did close below 21, and it looks like everything's kind of pointing down. The momentum here is slightly changing here. RSI starting to go lower here as well. Again, this looks like it just literally trades on news, so this is going to be very volatile on that case. So be very careful about that with NIO. And then VIO. What is this? It's not loading for me. Is that an oil stock? It says crude oil 1/10 value. It looks like it doesn't work. And I don't like oil stocks right now. Shop, great one out there. That is for Jake. I love Shop. I almost sold it because I was like, my God, this thing is moving so much. What is going on here? Luckily enough, I looked at the chart, I looked at what was going on, and it didn't look too concerning in the sense of it breaking down. It's just super volatile, as you can see here, like huge influxes here through and through. Again, it did close below the 8, so that kind of means that it could be potentially be running out of steam, but it's so far from the 21, it's gonna have to drop quite a bit for me to even think about selling it, or for me potentially adding more to Shop. I think it's a great company. I love the way they do the business. They're super innovative, and I love the story. Looking at the bull case here, we of course we don't want the 5 and the 8 to cross on this one because this one is heavily driven by momentum. But I think some steam is running out, and you can see that steam is running out here on the Chaikin Money or the TTM squeeze up here is when these blue lines, the teal ones, start turning dark blue. So that kind of indicates there might be getting low fuel, and that doesn't mean it's going to come crashing down. Doesn't mean it could just start trading sideways. It does have earnings coming out on the 6th, so that is, what day is that? That would be Wednesday of next week. So middle of the week, Monday could be super volatile for the overall markets moving forward. I would be, if you're in this, I would, depending on when you got in, we got in around 450, maybe no, it was like below 300. I have to look at my thing. Looking at this, again, earnings is a complete coin flip. We do not have a crystal ball. Omar, can you tell me what Wendy's stock ticker symbol is, please? I don't know which one. I forget the ticker symbol for that one off the top of my head. So then looking at this for bull case, we want it, of course, the 5 and 8 to continue trading sideways or going up. But the biggest concern here is earnings. Again, that is a complete coin flip moving forward. I do like Shop, but if it closes below the 21 on the daily chart, the overall short-term trend is no go. Then Joyce says Joyce Jones team. What is team? Is that teamwork? That's not the team. Asana. That is what is that? The project management tool, right? A lot of people want to use that. Wow, this is an interesting chart. It doesn't look like it trades that much. Is this fairly new stock? It's been around. It opened like 18. Okay. So this is an interesting chart. Like, this has been around since like early 17, summer 17, and kind of to start trading again. The 21 being your line in the sand on if you want to add. So there's a long-term position. It is basically hit its all-time highs this week. That's fantastic. Looking forth, this looks really positive, honestly. It looks like it had a good earnings, right? This looks great. This is a great ad there, Jones. I'm going to add this to my list. Thank you for that. That's a great looking stock. Again, it's going to have a lot more momentum, hopefully, to go forth. But again, it did close above the 5 and the 8, looking for a potential push higher. But again, it looks like there could be some overhead resistance in the short term around the 158 level, because it tried to bust out there twice there. Could do a 2-tap and could go to the 21. It could do a 2-tap and just drop higher. Great stock there, my friend. Yeats Open says Apple. Yes. Apple, the AirPods. That's AAPL. Apple, they had a really interesting quarter too, didn't they? Moving forth with Apple, again, they're trading fairly well. The trend is still intact, above the 5 and the 8. has not closed below 21. This wick is slightly concerning. I normally don't like to see a large wick on the top of the head of it. That could be somewhat concerning for a lot of capitulation, so meaning a lot of selling happened probably due to, again, it was their quarter on Thursday, and then when Friday opened up, there was a lot of people selling, and that what made the wick so large and long for potential a lot of buying and selling depending. But it looks like the buyers won out. Looking for this one, it needs to continue. It's the trend, the short-term trend that we see here from the low is still intact. If it closes below the 277 level, which is the 21 exponential moving average, you could add to it if you're still long, because it did fail here. It did, again, the technical trading is somewhat of an art form, not a science. So this did kind of close below it, but the wick was towards the bottom of it, meaning that there was still enough buyers to push it up. So I would have bought this here potentially. Again, I know this is in hindsight, but that would have been driving higher. If this comes down to 21, it might be a nice little add for a potential kick higher, because who knows on what can happen. I think they even raised their dividend, right? Like they raised it up, 5 cents. That's pretty crazy in a pretty huge downturn market. They raised their dividend. He's got it. Any position internals for gold or silver due to starting to run up today because they're heading lower, thinking about entering June or July calls on GDX, gold, or AIU. I normally don't trade silver. If I do trade gold, I do trade GDX, like you said. I haven't looked at gold in a while. I did own gold, the ticker here, for quite some time, but I did sell around the $25 level. I think it was right about here, when I thought the overall market was stopping from going up, but I guess I missed that. Missed another $5 there. Anywho, that's another story for another day. GDX here. Interesting. It definitely had the momentum of trying to go down, but again, it closed above the 5 and the 8. Didn't get below the 21. There was a lot of capitulation because of today being a lot of down day. A lot of markets closing around 2.5% to 3% in the overall markets. So that's a huge move, actually. I know it doesn't seem like a lot because the other couple days would have been up 7 or down 7%, but now 3% is still a pretty a huge decline in a bear market that we're in. Looking at this, I like GDX. It's going to be hard to add to this because you should have added it probably around the $21 to $30 or $31 level. Let me look at a larger time frame for you there. So this is a monthly. Nothing here. Let's bring this back down to a weekly. This thing has been on fire, hasn't it? Wow. I want to see here. Let me do a quick fib here for you because this looks kind of interesting. It looks like the 127 was okay. So if you were trading this, and if I was trading this with my money, it would start selling off to 31. If it stayed above the 31, it could potentially have enough energy and momentum if the momentum indicators and RSI are still trading sideways to hit to the $36 level. So hopefully that answered your question there, my friend. Sell in May, go away. That is very much true. Like that is the old the tale of everything just sells off in May. Wesley says USO. Oh, come on, man. USO, really? Come on now. And then we'll do Gilead for you as well. USO, I don't want to touch with a 10-foot pole. I don't know if you guys see my video about I'm short NAT, just an FYI. And a lot of people give me crap for that because they know something I don't know and they think oil. Anyways, I'm just playing the contrarian bet. USO, can it go up? Sure, it can go up. It can go up for sure. But what people need to understand is that this just had a reverse stock split. All right. So they just literally beefed it up because they don't want to have their investors trade a $2 or $3 stock. So when the hedge fund guys or investors for whatever, the endowment for Harvard or whatever, when they give their investors what they own, and the investor sheet shows, oh, they own a $2 stock, that's like bringing your first date to McDonald's and getting a supersized meal. That's not going to happen. That's not impressive. It's not the right way. Which is nothing wrong with McDonald's, and McDonald's is a great place, but you want to kind of you want to spruce up your balance sheet. So a lot of the hedge funds just need to look like they're actually doing something, and it looks really nice. Okay, then we're going to do GILD. Gilead. I'm actually did trade this. I'm out of it. Basically got out around the 80-ish level. This has been too much capitulation. The vaccine, as you hear, is already priced in. This is somewhat of a crapshoot. The trend still is intact if you want to go here. Again, if it closes below 78, 72 on the daily chart, that means it is reversing, and again, you can see a lot of overhead resistance here where my alert is here. Basically, if it breaks above the 85, 86 level, basically 86, and closes above it, that is a really positive sign for a potential move higher there. Wendy's stock. Did you post me what Wendy's stock is? I think it's WE. Oh, sorry. Did you go over Tesla, Joshua? I did. I'll go over Tesla here again once real fast because there was only a couple people on. And again, if you guys enjoy this, please don't forget to hit the like button. I really do enjoy doing this. I hope that everyone finds this refreshing, a fun, really cool environment to understand and get into the markets. Basically, quick key takeaways to Tesla's daily trend is still intact due to the fact that it didn't close below 21. It is somewhat under fire due to, again, Mr. Elon Musk going off on Twitter for whatever reason. The 5 and the 8 look like it could potentially cross, and then if that's okay, but if those start crossing the 21 and we close below the 21, that is concerning. And then, of course, I want it to break out because I own shares in it above the 770 level. So that being said, that's basically Joshua on Tesla. Wesley again, DPZ and Chipotle. DPC is still intact. It didn't close below 21. It is showing some downward trend momentum. As you can see here, RSI still pretty flat. Check Money Flow kind of sold off due to a lot of the earnings stuff, and I think a lot of people are just moving their money out of anti-COVID stuff. On the weekly chart, it still looks strong. It's still above the 5 on the weekly chart, so if you're a longer-term investor, you're making money there. And then Omar says Wendy's WEN. I think that is right. That sounds right. Yeah. So Wendy's, that is a crazy stock for sure. Didn't that went down to like $7. And of course, that is a V-shaped bottom to some extent, and then started trading sideways, or trading sideways, then went up. Wendy's looks super strong, man. Like, that looks really good. That is a good looking chart. I'm gonna actually add that to my list here to watch next week. Looking at, it did kind of break above this 21 here. I mean the 200 here. This is the teal line here. This is the 200 exponential moving average, Omar. And this kind of broke above it. It did close above it, which is good, but then it kind of started coming down again. It didn't come down strong. It's still above the 8, and then it didn't close above the 5, but it still has steam in the room to continue climbing higher. As you can see here, it's been riding the 8 pretty much up most of the way. Again, it did close above it, so it's great. But again, earnings around the corner, and that is a complete coin flip. So be super careful with that. Let's see here. We did vlogs. Roku. Wow, I haven't traded that forever. That is crazy. Yeah, that's it's somewhat similar. It didn't close below 21. You got to kind of watch this super closely in the sense of once this closes, again, earnings reports coming out. It's usually volatile. if you had to be a betting man, like, of course, wouldn't you think Roku's doing well in an environment where everyone's at home watching TV? I don't know. Like, this could be an interesting play. So I'm actually going to add that to my watch list this week as well. So thank you for that. Looking forth, again, the 5 did cross into the 8. Didn't close below 21, but it's showing signs of slowing down. The RSI is pointing down. Momentum's starting to slow down. On the weekly chart, it's still somewhat intact. Again, didn't close below on the 21 on the weekly, but the 5 and the 8 have not broken through it yet. If we have a great quarter and the 5 and 8 rip through the 21, super strong signs there, my friend. Let's see here. Josh was asked about Disney. Yes, we can do Disney as well. They had a crazy week today. They ran up a lot and then sold off. DIS. So I own a lot of Disney stock, one of my larger positions. It did close below 21. Great. It's super far from the 200 like a lot of other companies. It is very much hit with the overall breakdown. But once good news comes out and Disneyland literally gets to open up again, I think it's going to be super positive for them moving forward, honestly. Then we can see here, so yeah, below the 21, we want to keep it above 104 on the daily. Let's go ahead and put it on the weekly. Like, this is crazy. It has not broken above the 200 on the weekly chart, so this is actually a super indicator that I kind of want to see. You can literally see the tick nearly went up to it, to like the 112.7 it looks like. So we wanted to break above 113 for a potential move higher, and we of course want that 8 and 5 on the weekly chart to continue printing higher as well. I'll do Baba in a second. You got it. Is Apple going up? I think so. Wesley says, thanks, dude. I heard. Okay, that was a lot of chats coming in. Sorry. Yeah, Microsoft got smacked. Did it get smacked? Not as bad as Tesla. Like, Tesla is the one that got smacked. Like, having a great quarter and they got smacked. Yeah, it looks like like, again, this is where my predictions were. If today was not a down day over the overall market, we would be seeing short-term highs here for sure. Microsoft looks great, honestly, dude. It has not closed below the 8. Again, momentum still pushing higher. You see that a couple of days it did close below it, but it never got down to the 21 and closed below it. So making this trend still intact. The 5 and the 8, the 5 is still on top of the 8, and the 8 is on top of the 21. That is still a very positive looking trend. Again, but this will move with the market. So if a lot of other companies will sell off, this will definitely sell off as well, but it wouldn't sell off as fast as a lot of other companies. What did I just lose? I just lost my chat. I'm sorry. Yeah, I can't do live during trading hours because I do have a job that requires me to work. I do have charts open on the thing. I was thinking about doing a Discord, if people were even interested in that, if doing a Discord, and then potentially for other further benefits to do a Patreon. I'm still kind of looking into what that means and things like that. So I don't even know what I could do to help people out and things like that. Let's see here. I would love it to go to live 30 minutes during trading hours and be a news channel. You go live 30 minutes during trading. Yeah, I think I could maybe swing that. We'll see on going forth on what we can do with that. This is hello, just subscribed and I was wondering what was your opinion on Disney and Facebook. The EPS is on Monday. For Disney. Disney's on Monday? Really? I own their stock. I thought it's the huge company like that reports on a Monday? Oh, I spelled that wrong. It's probably on Tuesday, right? The 5th. Yeah, it's on Tuesday. Yeah, Disney. I don't know how that's gonna be a coin flip for sure. Disney's gonna be a coin flip. I want it to go higher because I own it, but if it breaks below 21 and breaks below 21 and it continues going to past 100, I would have to start adding to my position just on principle. Facebook, we can do Facebook as well. Facebook, look at that. I had my circle out there and it came into my circle. I think Facebook's super strong. I own stock in them as well. It broke crazy strong above its 200 exponential moving average on the daily chart. All the moving averages are beautifully lined up. It's pretty far extended from a lot of things, so that's my only concern. That things will probably trade sideways, start coming off just a little bit, due to the fact of that. This is potentially about to pop off due to the fact of the 5 and the 8 are curling up. So if we have a nice positive week next week, this could easily see probably plus 215 on Facebook. Again, and I'll be very happy about that because I own their stock. I am in a short position with Facebook. Really? When did you start getting into short? Are you looking to short from like 215? How long have you been holding it? Need a little more than that. Yes, Thinkorswim is what I use for my tools here as well. Thank you. Delta, we can do Delta here. And I can do Roku again. I did that as well. We'll see here. Delta DL, right? Oh, we'll bring it to the daily chart. The only thing is this is concerning is that it traded above the 21, which is good, but then it broke below it. This is somewhat of a really much beaten up stock. It's kind of sad in the sense of that. In the overall trend, you have to look at a larger time frame. Again, this is a total new time in the market. People are trying to digest this new pandemic stuff and how it works and how stocks trade within it. It's just trading sideways. On the weekly chart, you can just literally see the candles are getting smaller, which is good for a potential push higher. The volatility is hopefully out of the picture for a lot of the airline stocks. But again, it's pretty much going to be trading sideways until things start opening up in the government or in the global economy. Let's go back here. Delta Barry says, bro, do Roku. You got it, my friend. Like Roku again, it has earnings coming up, and this is super volatile going to earnings, and it could be super positive or negative because again, I don't have a crystal ball, and earnings is a complete coin flip, as you know that I express my opinions on that pretty heavily. If you wanted to own it, I would. If you had $1,000, you could buy 2 or 3 shares pre-earnings, and again, meaning the day before, so forth. If this starts heading lower, you could maybe add into it. So if the earnings is great, it pops off and you made a small profit and continue building off that. Or if it trades lower to $78 and so forth, let's see what their expected moves are here. Their expected move for the 8th is 16. Let's just call it, let's call it $17. So $17 to next week. Basically, $17 would be probably to like the what was the price? 114. So probably slightly past like 130, 132. So that would be putting it back up to its recent highs. That I could see that happening for sure, but you can kind of see there's a lot of overhead resistance already up here around the $31 level. So we're going to put a little alert here for that. And then on the downside, it could easily come down to $100 or even lower, because it looks like if it does sell off, it has to fill this gap here around $100. So if it does sell off and it gets to $100, that might be a nice position to add. What's going on, dude? Thank you, Barry. Don't forget to hit that like button. And I want to do a poll too. And we're going to be talking about potentially doing a Discord for the dyslexic investors, the DI club, and so forth. So stay tuned for that. I'll be posting that on YouTube sometime. How's Roku looking for earnings? You just answered that. Yeah, okay. Tuesday. Oof. Disney going to pop? I hope so. I really do. Do you mean pop like gonna go lower like a balloon, or pop off like go higher? This just depends on what that means. GILD. Do you got Cash App? I don't know what that is. Is that like Venmo? GILD, we did trade that just slightly. The vaccine is already kind of baked in. It has so much overhead resistance around the $86 level. This trend is still intact right here. Basically the 21, again the yellow line. It's just super volatile because these lines are just up and down. This looks like an earthquake's coming. And I really don't want to be into that. It's just a little scary for me. I don't want to be a part of that. It's just a little scary. Can you check out VIXX, please? Is that like a VIX alternative? VIXX? Is that right? Did you say VIXX? Yeah, that's not coming up on my screen, my friend. VIXX. Yeah, is that a VIX inverse or something like that, or like a leveraged one? Water. Mr. Blue Box 45, great name. I'm more of a red box kind of guy, but okay. AMD. What? Holy Toledo. What is going on here, man? AMD. I love this stock, right? This thing was like the #1 performer in 2019. Look at this run. Bam. Bam. That's a hell of a run. It's just sad that the overall global economy is just so slow. A lot of factories closed. And just not able to potentially push higher. Like, it's just selling off due to the fact of the demand is lower. But if you have a very long-term outlook, AMD is by far going to be in a lot of different things moving forth. I love the stock. I'm going to add this to my weekly list here for you guys to kind of track on YouTube here for a potential kick higher. Because around the $50 level, it's been pretty solid here. The momentum's still kind of going lower, but the chicken money flow is starting to curl up, meaning there's a lot of funds buying this. We can go to the weekly chart, and the weekly chart, the momentum's still intact, my friend, Mr. Blue. It did close below the 8, but again, the 21 here is super, super exciting at $46 to be able to add here. If it gets to this point, which it probably is going to get here before it goes to new time highs, I think, again, I like to see this hit this level potentially to add. I hope that helps you, Mr. Blue. What did I miss next? You're welcome. Elon the GOAT, he wants to let a small fry get a piece of that sweet Tesla stock. That is a way to look at it, right? And he's like, I need a lot of those smaller Robinhood investors to buy 1 or 2 shares or fractional shares of my stock. If he really wanted us to own it, he would do a split and do like a 7-for-1. A 1-to-7. I need your own Mad Money segment. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Wesley. What do you think about BA fundamentally? Could it go bankrupt? So, to be completely transparent, I don't understand a lot of the fundamental side of stocks. I do understand the fundamental sides of the supply and demand, but if a company can go bankrupt, I don't know. I don't think BA is going to go bankrupt. Fundamentally speaking, how many airplane companies are out there that can make airplanes? There's two. They're Airbus and then them. It is still on a trend lower. It has not broken above its 21. Like, I don't know if I can find a better chart here on this chart here, because this is just great. It's kind of sad because I know who was it got it? He's got it saying, didn't they just lay off like 15 or 16,000 people? Like, they said no to government money that potentially just got super cheap debt like Disney did at super low interest rates. They're so far out, long-term debt they're buying. It's going to be okay. It's just going to be a rough ride. I could see this potentially going lower. I could see this hitting to around 120 and potentially even lower, depending in the short term, because it's not printing very well here. It's not trading very well. On the weekly chart, it's still kind of guiding lower. The 8 and the 5 are still haven't slowed down, and the momentum here has not turned yellow yet on the weekly. So I'm not the most positive on that fact. Oh, my bad. Oh, VXX. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, I'll get to that in a second. Okay, I think I missed someone. Costco. Oh, yes, Costco. I love my Costco. This has been crazy as well. Super volatile. If you don't own this, it might be a good opportunity to buy this, but it's still printing lower. You can kind of see the 5 and the 8 are starting to... The 5 did break the 21. If the 8s are hitting the 21, that could potentially go lower. I think if it gets to the 200 again, I don't know if it will. If it drops $10, from today or this week, it would be a nice little position to add, I think. On the upside, of course, we want these moving averages to start curling back up and it start breaking out above certain levels. Let's see, I tell you some more exact levels here. Bada bang, bada bang. Yeah. This has been such a wide trading range. There's not really that great amount of support. I just see a lot of support here, and then resistance are going to be around like the 310 level, because I see a lot of candles up here around that level. That's on Costco. Rusty is asking for SDC. SDC. No idea what that company does. Oh, Smile Direct Club. The braces thing. That's the Invisalign thing, Majigger, right? This looks like an interesting stock. How are they making money? Aren't all the dentists closed? Is braces essential? Yeah, that's interesting. It looks positive. Yeah, it looks like it's trying to break out. The 5 and 8 and 21 are a nice formation. RSI is kind of going lower. Check and money flow was super low. It's starting to print higher. Momentum is like going off. Again, it kind of just sold off with the overall market. It looks like it's having troubles of breaking above the 89 exponential moving average here. Yeah, I think if you want to go be super small with it, I would be if it closes below the $5.86. But if it breaks above 7.75, you got a nice little runner there. My bad. He said VXX. There you go. I think that sounds right. VXX. So you are betting. What is this? This is a short term. This is basically the volatility index for Barclays. Okay. So you're looking at going long or short. If you're going short or long this, it needs to break above the 21 here. So it needs to break above 41.80 and close above it for a nice little push higher. But the thing is with the VIX, it's super hard to contain due to the fact of it can just pop off at any time because it's super volatile to whatever is going on in the market. On the weekly chart, I think it could potentially start trading sideways more. I think we're going to get used to having the VIX and overall indexes around the $40 level. So it can be anywhere from 43 to 36, and it's just going to be trading sideways due to the fact of once we start getting the economy going again. What do you think of... Oh, this scrolled up. What do you think of growth potential for Nvidia? I love Nvidia, Gregory. I love Nvidia. I don't own it though. I was super scared of getting into it on the last downturn. I got into too many other stocks and I just didn't have the capital to get into it. Again, it looks a lot like AMD. It's coming towards 21, potentially getting below the 21. I don't think AMD broke the 21, or AMD did break the 21. This one has not. So the 21 is still intact here. Again, don't put all your fish in one basket. Is that the saying, fish or eggs? I don't know. Whatever your potato is. And then the overall trend is still the 21 if you're doing short-term trading. If we can pop it over to the weekly, it's getting close to the 21 here. Oh, that's not the week. This is the weekly. Looking here on, yeah, it's super still pretty high up there. It has not broken below the 5 or the 8 here as well. For potentially pushes higher. So I'm gonna go for another probably until like 8:50. So another 30 minutes. So I'm gonna kind of start rapid fire through some of these stocks here. So Californian Vault. BA is used by the military. Yes, I believe BA, I think their business is like 50-50. 50% is like military, 50% is like commercial stuff. Yeah. I don't think so either. Yeah, I think so too. BA is just gonna have a little rough road ahead. I don't think AMD will go that high unless Intel dies. Not enough market shares to split between them. Joyce, why don't you think AMD can go higher? You don't think it's gonna go above 50, 60 bucks? I'll bet against that. Hertz. What's Hertz's symbol? I don't know what Hertz's symbol is. Caliber is CODX. What is that? CODX. Diagnostics. I have no idea what this is. The chart looks super volatile. It looks like it was a penny stock, and then it got off the pink sheets, and then it had something blow up here, and then it just kind of traded back down. This is more of a news-driven stock, and you would need to know the fundamental news behind it. This looks like a potential, again, if you're just trading this, again, super volatile moving forth, but it's still above the 21. So if you're long it, if it closes below like 1190 here, or like under 12, it could be a sign to go lower. But you can kind of see here in the past, the 21's been kind of a magnet. Even if it broke below, it kind of came right back. So the 21 is basically your guide, and then do plus or minus on what your risk tolerance is there. Oh, it's a COVID. Aren't all of them now? WDC, is that Western Digital? Yeah, I called that one. Boom. Yeah, that doesn't look pretty, man. This is gonna trade a lot like the chip stocks due to the fact of storage and things like that. There's not that much storage being used right now. Looking very kind of toppy heavy. It's been trading really close to the 21. It hasn't broken below like 38 level. This looks like a potential kind of a line in the sand here. Looks like earnings wasn't the greatest. if you're in it, I would be holding on a short leash if it breaks below 38 for a potential test to the lows, because there's this gap right here, and that between the 34 and then the 36 level, which could kind of be a magnet and bring it back down to that price. Oh, Joyce's son. Oh, no, you don't think AMD can get to 200? I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, right? I don't have a crystal ball. Oh, there we go. Okay, Hertz is HTZ. HTZ. Ugh. I'm hoping you're short this. I hope so. I hope so. I hope so. Hey guys, just want to do a quick question. Do you guys want me to do another live stream on Sunday? Just to be sure about this, because we're going to have to probably wrap this up in the next 15 to 20 minutes. And I can kind of give you some more background on some other stocks here and kind of make a presentation for the following stocks that are coming out and so forth. And I kind of wanted to roll out a Discord chat as well for the people who are more want to continue the conversation. So I'm hoping you're short again on Hertz. That doesn't look pretty. Looks like it's literally getting its lows like what do you say about Hertz? Like fundamentally, like no one's traveling, no one's you're just making a bet that you're able just to get out of this. It's a bet for sure, but it's not really a bet I would like to take. I would like to put my money elsewhere. Yes, when traveling comes back, it could take off, but even before this, it wasn't a great traded stock. It's been around the 200-day on the daily chart. Let's look at a longer time frame. Yeah, this stock has just been trading sideways. What this looks like to me is just the company's buying its own stock, and just keeping it around the 21 exponential moving average. So the company, again, and this is what's happening here. We'll see what happens. I would not like for you, if you're going long, just be super careful with this, man. Super careful. JBLU. I don't know what that is. JBLU. Is that JetBlue? Ah, look at that. I'm good. Let's see. JetBlue. Isn't JetBlue the first airline to say that you have to wear a mask to get on the airplane? Oh, Hertz has announced bankruptcy. Yeah, Hertz. What's the clothing store that I see people? J. Crew. It's just a lot of. You're going to be seeing this, I think, ongoing for a little bit due to the fact of this stay-at-home stuff, and closing the economy has lasted longer than a lot of people thought, I think. That's why you have our friend Elon going off on Twitter. JetBlue, it's just trading like all the airline stocks. So I can look at JetBlue, I can pull up UAL, no, that's not typing, UAL. It looks just the same. Like this net chart looks just the same. We can kind of do here on the flex grid. I don't have the right setup there. Looking forth on just trading lower. I'm not trading lower, but just trading sideways. I think it's again, I own Delta. Yeah, I own Delta. It was a swing in the dark. Put a little bit of capital on it around its lows and to see where it goes. But again, it's a super small position out of my overall portfolio. Oh, Wesley, you'll be there for Sunday? Great. Can I get a thumbs up for everyone who would like to join a Discord chat, and we can kind of keep this conversation going, and I kind of can do more chart sharing and do recommendations like that. I would greatly appreciate everyone's response to that, because I'm really kind of debating it in my head on if it's worthwhile to do so, because I don't want to be the only one in Discord talking to myself or potentially just chatting to myself. Because there's a couple Discord chats that I joined, but it doesn't seem like it's it kind of comes and goes, right? It's the moderator is not there sometimes and things like that, and yeah, I'm pretty connected to my phone, so I'm always somewhat available. California Vault, do you think that the SPY will rally to the downside sometime soon again? SPY, so looking at the overall market, again, just remember, I don't have a crystal ball, but I have these two lines up here, and these are my guidelines. So if I'm driving my big old semi-truck, aka through the market, and my semi-truck goes down to the downside around 278, I'm going to go, oh, snaps. And then potentially have to pull over. I'm going to have a flat tire. And it could potentially go lower. Again, if it breaks to 21, closes below 21, in theory, it's going to, it could go lower. For it to go higher, that would be around the 290. So if I'm driving my semi-truck again, and looking for a move higher, and somehow I'm driving my semi-truck and $200 bills fall into my lap, and then I get a delicious cheeseburger with french fries in my lap, we're drinking a vanilla milkshake, yes, that's when it breaks above 290 and potentially goes higher. Again, we're going to know a lot more when the futures open up on Sunday evening, which probably will be on the next live stream. The live stream probably would be around, that would be probably around 8:30, 9 o'clock on Sunday as well, depending on what is going on in my life. Last one, CHK. What is CHK? And then we'll just kind of sign off. CHK, what is that? Oh, Chesapeake Energy. Are you long this? This is a... They just did a reverse stock plate, didn't they? Yeah, I can tell you, because this used to be like a penny stock. They did a 1 to 200. Oh, I wouldn't touch this, dude. That is straight nasty. I can't touch this. It's below 21. It's been below 21 forever. It's broken out a couple times, but yeah, I wouldn't want to touch this. Yeah, sadly, I hate to short things, but sometimes things are just out there. A couple short things that I'll share with you that I'm looking at this week is actually Tyson's Food. Tyson's Food. Why does KB want, or dyslexic investor Ken want to short this? It looks like this right here, this pattern right here, looking for the 5 and the 8 to cross below the 21, and it did close below 21. Yes, it could pop off and go higher, but I'm looking for a potential lower issue going down to the $54 level. I know it has earnings, which can be complete coin flip. I don't know what's going to happen, so this is why I'm kind of trying to wait and see what happens. I don't like to hold options into earnings particular, because they can just literally just blow you out. And it looks like they're going to report on Monday, so we'll see before the market, so we'll have to trade off of that. Again, this could be a potential just substantially push lower for that idea. And another stock that I had my eyes on a lot, where was it? I had it, I still have my eyes on Activision. Activision is a pretty big holding in my portfolio as well. It came down to the $63 level. I bought a little bit more and then went lower the next day, but yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Earnings is coming up. I think it's going to be great. Honestly, I'm a long-term holder in it. Again, with the whole stay-at-home, everyone's playing video games, so spend their time if they're able to. Looking at this again, holding by the 21 and seeing where it goes from there. Again, guys, is there anything out there you want me to cover before I sign off? It looks like people did want a Discord. I'll figure out how to set that up, and then I'll potentially look at doing a support me to make better videos, on the sense of I wanted to get a camera so you guys are able to see me in my room here, to kind of put a face to the charts, so I can kind of do that intermittently on there. Is there any more questions out there? Because we're going to give it about a couple more minutes. I hope everyone has a wonderful week. We'll probably be back here live in 48 hours from now, around the 9 o'clock, 8:30 time frame on Sunday. I hope everyone has a safe and fun weekend. Don't look at charts like me all the time. Go outside, enjoy, get some sunshine. I try to do that myself. But yeah, enjoy life, and have some questions loaded for Sunday going forth. I'm going to kind of do a little presentation on the particular earnings and some big key metrics that we should look for. And I greatly appreciated everyone out there who joined on the live stream today. Hopefully by Sunday I'll have the link to the Discord, so everyone who joins the live stream, you'll be the first ones in to get on the Discord, and then I'll potentially set up a Patreon as well for potentially you guys get to see my pretty face. Yeah, I love to interact with other traders, honestly. I love to hear other people's perspective going forth on what they're doing, what their thought process is. And not just like an argument sake of just like, hey, just a very mellow understanding of like, hey, this is what I do, things like that. What up, dude? How do you say that? Yala trades? Yeah, Zoom. I use Zoom for work, and I just reminds me of work too much, so I don't use Zoom for that reason. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining. We'll be doing another live stream on Sunday. I'll be working on some videos in the pipeline, discussing some potential market moves and so forth. Again, don't forget to slam that like button. Show me my support, and we'll be talking to you soon. Peace.